Before we move on to the last two problems on this section, I just want to make sure that everybody understands this. I'm just going to go through it and just explain it again. I think here might be where people have some problems. So, because the bigger the numbers get, it seems like the more confusing for students. So first we changed both of these into fractional exponents, and again, because 2x is under the radical, it has to be in parentheses. Otherwise, without parentheses, it would only apply to x. So the power here is 1, so it's 1 over 5. The power here is 4, so it's 4 over 3. Now we have 2 of the same base, just like we had over here. So anytime the base is the same, you add the exponents. So this is my work step to show the product rule of exponents. So 2x to the 1/5 plus 4/3. We type that in our calculator and change it into an improper fraction. Then we have to rewrite it as a radical so we can simplify. And it also says, because sometimes students don't read this on the test, when I say leave as rational exponents, that means you would leave it like this. When I say leave in radical form, that means this. So this is called rational exponents. So if it says leave as a rational exponent, you would stop there. If it says write in radical form, you'd go there. I think on the test I ask you to leave it in rational exponent form. So we have 15th root, then we have our 2x in parentheses, and then 23 is the power. And then we said, well, 23 is not divisible by 15, but we could take 15 away from it, and then that leaves 8. So these two still give me 23. I haven't changed the problem. I just separated it out into something that's perfect and then a leftover. So then we do 15 divided by 15. That comes out as 2x to the first. And then underneath the radical would be 15th root of parentheses 2x to the 8th, because that one didn't have enough to get out of jail, so it had to stay under. Okay, let's do these last two, and then we'll call it a day. So we have perimeter. So remember how we were going this side plus this side plus this side plus this side, because perimeter is the distance around the outside. Just always remember, we have the perimeter of the building surrounded. That's how we know to add all the ones around. But this is area, and for area, we do length times width. So let's write that. Area, length times width. So perimeter, we add all four sides. Area, we multiply length and width. So to find the area of this, we multiply the length, 5 radical x, times the width, 121, square root of 121x. So this is why I have you memorize your perfect squares and perfect cubes, because at this point, you should know that 121 is a perfect square. It's 11 times 11. So 2 11s are going to come out as 11. 111. So if you didn't know that, then you would have started multiplying and got these huge numbers. So that's why it's really important that you memorize those perfect squares and perfect cubes that I had you highlight in the box before break. So this is 11 times 11, which would be 2 11s, which come out as a single 11. So now my new problem is 5 radical x times 11 radical x. So the square root of 121 is 11. It comes out, but x doesn't have enough to get out of jail, so it just stays. Okay, getting close here, guys. So now we multiply the outer numbers, 55 Then we multiply what's under the radicals. X times x is x squared. Two x's come out as a single x, so I can see my area is 55x. Way easier than adding that we did on the last lesson, huh? Okay, now would be a good time to turn off the video. Try 5 on your own before you watch me go through it. Okay, this one again asks you to find area. So again, we'll be using the formula length times width. Length is usually the longer side, width is usually the shorter, but it doesn't really matter. So area equals length. And notice this time I'm putting them in parentheses. Do you know why? Here it was a single term because this is multiplication times a single term. Here it's going to be two terms multiplied by two terms. So they both have to be in parentheses. It's not optional. So these problems are different in the fact that this is one term times one term, so you just multiply. But these are two terms by two terms, so we have to FOIL. So from F, we get 21. From outer, we get negative 3 radical 5. And these are not conjugates, so the middle terms will not cancel because 3 and 7 aren't the same. Because remember, conjugates have to be exactly the same except for 1 plus, 1 minus. From inner, we get positive 7 radical 5. And from last, we have a positive times a negative, so negative square root 25. And remember the rule for FOILing with radicals, you almost always have some simplifying to do. So first we can combine like terms. This can't be simplified, it's just a whole number, so we can leave it alone for now. So 21, 7 minus 3 is positive 4 radical 5, and then minus 5. Are we done? No, we still have like terms here, right? So our final answer, it's arrow time again. Squiggly arrow. So our final answer is going to be A equals, combine these and we get 21 minus 5, which would be positive 16 plus 4 radical 5. And don't add those. They're not like terms. My answer would just be that. Sweet. Okay. That's it. See you in the next lesson.